The big international news this week is that apparently the U.S. Senate failed to ratify the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. Now, to our credit, a majority of the Senate did vote yay on the treaty, but not the required two-thirds majority, because there were 38 Republican senators who voted nay on the treaty. Now, some of us might be wondering why anyone would vote against a treaty that supports the human rights of disabled people. For example, my fellow Americans might be wondering what's wrong with those senators, and our friends in countries that have ratified the treaty or reasonably expect to sign it in the near future may be now asking, America, what the fuck is wrong with you all? So I'm going to try and answer that question. I'd like to say it's because they're a raving pack of pig-fucking irredeemable sociopaths, but I'm afraid that is not very precise. So I'm going to try and translate their nonsense from conservative dog whistle into plain English. On the one hand, we have the International Right to Life Federation, which says that pro-life groups oppose this legislation because it leaves open the potential for the international community to permit sterilization or abortion for the disabled. Article 25 requires, and we quote, free or affordable health care, including the area of sexual and reproductive health and population-based health programs. And when we say population-based health programs, that most likely emphasizes birth control. It may or may not include allowances for abortion rights. Now, sexual and reproductive health probably also includes maternity care, which does help more babies make safe passage into the world. It most likely emphasizes contraception before abortion, and contraception would actually mean fewer abortions take place. Another charming tidbit comes from Senator Jim Inhofe from Oklahoma, who says, and we quote, I do not support the cumbersome regulations and potentially overzealous international organizations with anti-American biases that infringe upon American society. Along similar logic, in more detail, we have Senator Mike Lee from Utah, who says that we all want to support the best interest of the child, every child, but I and many of my constituents, including those who homeschool their children or send their children to private or religious schools, have justifiable doubts that a foreign UN body, a committee operating out of Geneva, Switzerland, should decide what is in the best interest of the child at home with his or her parents in Utah or in any other state in our great union. In the same speech, Senator Lee complains that the treaty has no enforcement mechanisms behind it, and yet somehow the UN is going to dictate to homeschooling parents in Utah how they should take care of their children. If this sounds like it makes no sense, that's because it makes no sense. Senator Mike Lee seems to think that the standard of the best interest of the child is going to infringe on the parental authority of homeschooling religious parents in Utah. This attitude of paranoia has nothing to do with anything that's actually in the treaty or that might conceivably happen in response to the treaty in the U.S. or anywhere else. It has everything to do with animosity to the UN and any foreign influence trying to give advice to the U.S. In any case, the animosity towards the UN has a lot to do with the attitude of American exceptionalism, which I guarantee you has very little to do with America actually being a great nation and everything to do with freaking the fuck out at anyone who suggests that we might learn a thing or two from other countries. I could make a longer video and talk more about the cultural attitudes underlying the assumption that any governing body working from the standard of the best interests of the child is therefore going to come between homeschooling parents and their kids. But instead of going there, I'd just like to say to our friends in more sensible countries that most of us in America do not buy into the bullshit of American exceptionalism. We're a big country and we don't get out much, but we're always trying to learn to be better. So please don't give up on us. We need to have a good example set for us, and we're obviously not getting it from our own leadership if they allowed this to happen.